Hello and welcome to my Supernatural Diaries, Redeeming Thunder. This is chapter 39, part 3 of the Ordained Spouse series. This word was given to me in a dream on 7/14/2025. This is a now word, so you're going to want to stay tuned and watch in sequence. And especially watch in sequence chapter 39. There's 4 parts. This is part 3. In this dream, I saw this man giving a ring to this woman, and he was following her around, like walking right next to her, like on a journey of life. And they were walking around in a building. And she didn't want to marry this person. Okay? But he was quite neglectful towards her when it mattered the most. It was even more so neglectful. So she felt like that wouldn't be a good match. Okay? So I saw her expression, and she was just kind of serious, and he was excited to give her that ring, and they were kind of arm in arm, and it kind of seemed like she wasn't really smiling though. So that's what I was gathering, her expressions and her thoughts. These individuals were walking around in a building, and there was a glass door with glass windows about 60 steps away. And he was following her everywhere that she went. But in a dream, when you see windows, that means revelation from heaven is coming to you. Okay? So this could be a situation where you are with a counterfeit. And you know that that can't be the future ordained spouse. Okay? So, continued with the dream. He didn't get down on one knee. He just showed her the ring, and he just put it on her finger. She didn't even answer yes or no. He just put it on her finger. This was in front of many others walking around in the hallway. Okay? And in that moment, I saw her expression, and she felt like she was making a mistake. But that was the person that she was dating. Okay? For some time. So everybody probably kind of thought you're going to be with that person and marry them because, you've been with that person, right? So this individual that asked her to marry him looked very swollen and very heavy. Swollen all over in the body. There's a biblical interpretation of that, which I will put on the video. He didn't go down on one knee. He thought he couldn't get back up. So it could be someone that maybe they're not healthy spiritually. They're not a healthy fit for you emotionally. And then they're not on the same life journey of maybe being healthy, taking care of their health. I'm not talking about weight. I'm talking about health. Okay? Then the scene changed. They're still in that same store, standing around and walking in through the hallways, through the aisles. There wasn't really an aisle. It was like not aisles through clothes, but like the main aisle that divides stores from other stores. So it's like a walkway. It looked like they were in a mall. And this time they were at a jewelry store. There was glass casings where jewelry was in those glass casings. And they were in a huge room. And when I saw this woman look at that man, she said, "That's the one." She knew he was the one. Okay? And so this woman was sharing a little bit about herself with amongst others in a little group. Okay? And still in that same jewelry store. And that individual that she knew was the one was a couple feet away. Could possibly hear what she has to say, maybe not. But maybe he could hear, because I saw that the next scene was he began to joke and belittle and say, and start to say that by her sharing a little bit about herself, it sounded like she was being prideful or bragging about herself. Kind of saying, oh, look at her. She's just talking up herself, and began to belittle her, being like she must be joking or she must be lying and saying things that are not really who she is. And she could hear him. And others were around. Okay? And they were walking around as well. And this was becoming uncomfortable for this woman. And it was causing her to become sad. Sad because what she was trying to share about herself that was honest, he was taking it wrong and seeing it as like if it was a made-up story and not true facts. Okay? So then this woman just walks away. Then, like he already knows, okay? He starts to say out loud, a little loud, kind of almost joking manner. Like, kind of like in a incredulous, in a condescending manner. Why is she for me? I don't want someone stuck up. When he said that, when he was around others, because he was talking to others, but she could hear as she was walking away, he was reprimanded by others who said, the reality is everything that she's stating is actually true. She has done all these things. And she is that type of person with others. And she really is a kind person. And she really is noble. And she really is loyal and genuine. And when that other side, others were talking and saying that, it was sort of loud. So she looked at the person that was saying that. And then she glanced over at the future ordained spouse. Okay? Then the future ordained spouse looked at her, and he felt instantly very remorseful for thinking wrongly of her, and how the others helped him understand and that he was listening to the wrong crowd that was defaming her character and influencing his beliefs of her in the past. He was understanding that he was listening to the wrong crowd the entire time. So next scene was everybody is all walking around. They're crossing paths within that hallway. And or seeing each other from the glass jewelry case. So I guess one person's on one side and the other person's on the other side of the glass jewelry case. Or several jewelry cases back. They could still see each other. Okay? And so as time went on in the dream, the people that are walking around in that hallway, walk up to the woman and they whisper in her ear and say, he wants to give you a ring. And when that was said, she kind of like acknowledges what they said, like what? And an exact, like literally a second later, that future ordained spouse guy was suddenly right in front of her. There was like no other walking through the path, walking through the hallway, walking in the jewelry case. There was no more time in between that. He was just right in front of her. Okay? And suddenly, I want to take a break because the ring that the first person gave her, she was looking at it and been wanting it for a long time. But then it was like a marquee ring with a double set. But when the swollen guy gave it to her, the one she was already with, it didn't mean much because she actually didn't even say yes. She didn't even want to marry him. Okay? It was a ring that she's always wanted, but it didn't feel that special because the person that was supposed to give it to her, somebody else gave it to her. Okay? So now what happened was, so then what happened was, she didn't want to choose her own ring. She wanted the future ordained spouse to already know which ring she wanted. Okay, if you didn't watch chapter 39, part 2, you need to, because there's something going on where there's going to be like an intuitive in sync. And it's towards the end of the video where you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so so she felt that within, okay? And somehow he knew as well that she didn't want the same type of ring, the same style. She wanted a different one. And she wanted him to know which one. So suddenly, he had a different ring. And this was very sparkly. And it was a 2-set baguette ring. Okay? I'm not sure if it had 3 stone or 1 stone. I don't remember. Okay, so still very beautiful, and that ring didn't have any negative association to it because it's an entirely different ring. And he offered her this ring very sincerely. And he was standing there as he was apologizing for mistaking her identity and understanding who, and in that moment he was understanding who she really was. Okay, and later on in that vision, I saw what looked like sand-colored houses, like tan. They were huge houses, almost like mansions, and then I saw huge palm trees and a blue sky. So, in other words, apologies are coming to you. Your future ordained spouse misinterpreted who you really are. Okay? Maybe this is someone from your past. Okay? This is a huge clue. And he's coming not just with an apology, he's coming with a ring.